I'm Joy Morris, inviting you to listen to True Stories of the Wild West, hosted by C.R. King, a production of RK Enterprises.
Good morning, everybody. C.R. King here. Today, we're going to talk about a man. He's a pioneer, but he wasn't an early pioneer. He was born after California became a state in 1853. His name? Moses Hazeltine Sherman. So, are you ready for this? Sit back. This was some character. He was born in Vermont, and he became a teacher. He taught in New York for a couple of years, and he moved to Prescott, Arizona in 1874. There, he continued to teach for another 2 years. He started brokering mines and ranches, and in doing so, he acquired quite a savings of money. He did this while he was teaching. Now, he became friends with the governor of the Arizona Territory, John C. Fremont, who appointed Sherman State Superintendent of Public Instructions. He earned the title of general after his appointment as an adjunct general of the Territory of Arizona. He kept that name, general. He was never really a military general, but he insisted on being called general, and he called himself general. That's an eagle for you. He served 2 terms at that position. And then he built what is then called the Phoenix Railway trolley system. He helped found a bank called the Valley Bank of Phoenix. And then he gave acreage of land, 10 acres to be honest, to be exact, of land for the capital of Phoenix when the town became the capital of the territory in 1889. And he moved to California, Los Angeles, in 1890. There he became a land speculator. And he used new electric railways or trolley systems to promote his real estate ventures. Trust me, he was not the only one to do this. He made millions and sold control. He sold control of his Los Angeles Pacific lines to a man by the name of Eli H. Harriman in 1906 for a reported $6 million. Now, that $6 million was because Harriman was attached working for the Southern Pacific Railroad. He was the president of that railroad, but the real owners were the Rockefellers. He started the Los Angeles Consolidated Rail System. He assigned his brother-in-law, Eli P. Clark, as vice president and general manager. He started the Los Angeles Pacific Railroad in 1899, which traveled between Pasadena to Santa Monica, running across Redondo Beach. This interurban transit of the Los Angeles Pacific Railroad and the Pacific Railroad system, the big red cars, and many other systems. He used the railroads to advertise the trolley cars, to bring businesses, manufacturers into the city. Los Angeles was a growing community because of the rail system. They could live in the suburbs, as we call them now, and didn't have to live in a tight city with high apartments. So the rail system and the land speculation encouraged manufacturing and encouraged people to come out here. In 1903, he merged with a bunch of other rail systems. I don't want to get into all the names. It's too many. You wouldn't understand. And again, he sold that to the Southern Pacific Railroad, who was trying to keep control or take control over the Los Angeles system, over the city of LA and the ports of LA. And we'll get into that some other time. He was appointed to the water board, and he had first-hand knowledge before anybody else of the water being brought down from the Owens Valley into LA. The aqueduct was being built by Mulholland. And he used that to his advantage. He contacted Hobart Whitley, who founded Hollywood. They formed a syndicate, and they bought 47,500 acres of land in the San Fernando Valley. That particular land was called the Los Angeles Farming and Milling Company. It was owned by Isaiah Van Nuys and his son-in-law, Boone Lancashire. It comprised of nearly one half of all of the San Fernando Valley. That's the valley south of today's Roscoe Boulevard. The price was $2,500,000, or just under $53 per acre. As the valley was being developed, Van Nuys signed a contract to keep his name as the city. Thus, there's a Van Nuys City. His son-in-law Boone town was called Lancashire, but he was talked into changing the name to North Hollywood because they wanted to show the proximity of North Hollywood to Hollywood. This is Hobart Whitley's idea. He had Sherman build a trolley along the edge of the Cahuenga Pass, overpass that goes from Hollywood all the way into the San Fernando Valley. Now, that trolley system was later sold to the Huntingtons of the famed Huntington Library. Okay, so moving on. The people that developed the valley were as follows. Moses Sherman, who had inside information, alerted Hobart Whitley, the founder of Hollywood and other cities, over 200 of them. Isaiah Van Nuys, Boone Lancashire, Harry Chandler, and of course his father-in-law, Cheryl Otis, the owner of the LA Times. They were a powerful lot. Now, today, that would all be called inside trading, and people would be in a lot of trouble, but nothing ever happened to these guys. So they did another trolley to go all the way across the valley, the San Fernando Valley. The whole idea was people to be settled there and be able to get into Hollywood and into downtown Los Angeles with ease. Thus the trolley car. What is today called Sherman Way, which is a major boulevard, goes all the way down to center, was once the trolley system that Moses Sherman built. Now, part of this partnership, Moses was given a parcel of land. That land became a town within the valley called Sherman Oaks. Personally, I used to live there. It's a great town. It's a little expensive. It's below Ventura Boulevard, but it's a nice place to live. So that became Sherman Way. But that wasn't all that he had. That wasn't all that he did. He purchased land in Hollywood, actually the Los Angeles area. He named it Sherman, but that name changed to West LA. Very high rent today, right next to Beverly Hills. He purchased a place called, what was it called? Yeah, Port Balona. He changed it to Del Rey, which was changed again to Playa del Rey. I did say he did the Cahuenga Pass trolley car. The interesting part about all this is the towns that were named was, again, Lancashire, quickly became North Hollywood, Van Nuys, Marion, which became known as Reseda today, and Owensmouth, which today is Canoga Park. There's a lot of, and then besides Sherman Way as a major boulevard, part of that name became known as Chandler Boulevard after their partner. Anyway, this is basically what this man did. He was a landman. He was an urban developer of trolley systems. He sold most of it all of it all off, actually. Huntington came in and started buying it all. He became the ultimate of all the urban trolley systems in Los Angeles. He was never really a general, but they called him a general. And what he did was to help build Los Angeles through the trolley system, through development of his lands that he owned, and for inside information that he gathered. This guy was tall, he was funny, he was a politician, he was in trouble multiple times through the years because he took chances, illegal chances. But he survived it all. He died at the age of 78 in Los Angeles in 1932. Okay, everybody, that's Moses Sherman. He was a real pioneer and a real developer of Los Angeles. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Stay tuned for next week's tale.